super excited for this episode. I have two bottles that I have been looking for, that I've been dying to try. We're going to talk about them in just a second. Welcome to Average Joe's Whiskey. My name is Joe. First, I just want to say thank you to everybody who's been supporting the channel. Just hit 1,000 subscribers. We still have a long way to go to do all the things that I would love to be able to do with this channel, but we're growing a lot quicker than I thought we would, so just wanted to say thank you to everybody watching. Also got some new lights behind my bottles, and they only cost me like 20 bucks, plus a bottle of Booker's that I broke when I was putting them up. Always a frightening sound to hear glass break in the whiskey room, but thankfully it could have been a lot worse. All right, let's get to these bottles. First up is the bottle I've been looking for weeks, and it is Russell's 15. So I've been looking for one of these ever since I heard they hit my area. I was recently at the beach, kept my eye out for one of these the entire time, did not find one. And then as soon as I came home, State of Virginia did a nice little bourbon drop, and I was able to snag one for MSRP. So excited about it, seriously. I have to say, Virginia put out a ton of these Russell's 15s. I have heard that Wild Turkey released a lot more of these than any of the Russell's 13 releases. I've seen estimates as high as like 50 to 80,000 bottles, which doesn't surprise me because as soon as Virginia dropped this, all the Facebook and Reddit pages were lit up of people posting pictures of their Russell's 15 bottles. So it feels like half the people in Virginia got a Russell's 15, which is awesome. I did crack this one shortly after I got it, so this is not my first time tasting it, but I only had one pour so far, and I thought it was pretty great. But let's see if the second pour is any different. If you like oaky whiskey, this is for you. This has such an unbelievable nose. Just that soft, sweet oakiness and dark fruits. The nose really just, it explodes out of the glass. It's like there's a cloud just shooting out of the glass, like a mist. Like you can't just smell it. It's almost like you can feel the aroma on your face. It's pretty cool. So I have heard that Wild Turkey uses a lot of their older barrels in the Russell's 13. It's a blend of 13, 15, some 20-year-old barrels. And also, from what I've heard, the Russell's 15 is a blend of 15 and 16-year-old barrels. I don't think there's much 20-year-old whiskey in here, if any at all. I also hear that this comes entirely from Camp Nelson rickhouses, and Wild Turkey recently closed Camp Nelson C. So maybe they were clearing out a bunch of whiskey from that rickhouse, and that could have played a part in them putting out so many bottles of the Russell's 15. But that's enough speculation. Let's get into the palate. I mean, the nose is so good, you almost don't even want to drink it. I just want to sit here and smell it. Let's drink it though. It still has that Wild Turkey flavor profile. I'll tell you what, the palate is not quite as dramatic as the nose. It is very good. It doesn't come off quite as oaky as it is on the nose. Let's try it again. You get a lot of those dark fruits that you get on the nose, on the palate. The finish just lasts forever. I mean, 10 seconds after you swallow this whiskey, it feels like it's still in your mouth. Like it feels like the finish doesn't even start until 10 seconds after you swallow it. And then it just goes on from there. Yeah, I don't know that the palate is all that different from some of the Russell's 13 batches. To me, it's kind of like a good batch of Russell's 13, but with a much better nose and a much better finish. It is an exceptional whiskey. It does carry an exceptional price tag. Retail price on this bottle is $250. I was hoping that I wouldn't have to pay much more than that. I didn't have to pay any more than that since I was able to find it from the Virginia ABC. But yeah, $250 is a pretty steep price. Is it worth it? I don't know. This is like borderline worth it to me. I really like this bottle. If this was something like that's always available at that $250 price point, it's something that I might buy like once a year just to kind of have on hand and enjoy on special occasions and whatnot. I don't know, man, this whiskey is giving me mixed feelings. I absolutely love it. If it was like a $150 bottle, I would just be drinking it like apple juice. But at $250, I don't know. I think it's worth it. I do. Is it worth it at $400? Is it worth it at $500? No, I don't think so. But great job to Wild Turkey. You put out an absolute killer whiskey. Excellent job, Jimmy and Eddie Russell. And Bruce. Don't forget about Bruce Russell. All right, let's move on to the next bottle. So the next bottle I wanted to talk about recently won the Best Bourbon Award at the ASCOTs. Smoke Eye Hill, barrel proof. So apparently this beat George T. Stagg in a blind tasting among many respected spirits critics, and I have since seen numerous reviews online that say that absolutely makes no sense at all. Well, we can't just rely on other people to tell us how our whiskey tastes. Although I guess you're doing that now by watching this video. But don't feel bad about it, okay? That's totally cool to watch people taste whiskey. Since I don't have a George T. Stagg to compare it to, we're just gonna taste the Smoke Eye Hill by itself. Nice pop, man. Bonus points for that pop. That was pretty crazy. Really nice. Wow, look at this cork. That's a real cork too. Nice and heavy. Jesus. So Smoke Eye Hill is made from heirloom blue corn, which is kind of what makes it different from all the other bourbons in the category. It's not super old. Like George T. Stagg is like 15 years old, something like that. This is barreled, aged, and bottled in Colorado Springs, Colorado. And I hear they do age this partially in 53-gallon barrels, partially in 30-gallon barrels. So you might get some additional barrel impact from those smaller barrels. This one comes in at 131.4 proof. I picked this up off of Sealbox for a little under $100, not including shipping. And I'm pretty sure this is the same bottle that everybody has. I have not opened it, as you just saw. I'm gonna be as objective as I can since I don't have a George T. Stagg to compare it to. Although I did just drink Russell's 15, so if it compares to the Russell's 15, then I think we can say it's pretty good. It has a delightful, if unremarkable nose. A lot of ethanol. Let's let it sit for a second. All right, I think this has been sitting long enough. Nose really opened up. It's got a nice sweet nose, very almost like maple syrupy. Yeah, I'm getting like pancakes with maple syrup and caramel. Let's try it. It's pretty good. That maple syrup note carries through nicely to the palate. Really nice mouthfeel. Comes across pretty nice and thick. That blue corn kind of gives it like a little bit of a funk. It's real sweet. Like I said, it's got that funk. It has a lot of subtlety to it. Obviously not as much oak as like a GTS or the Russell's 15, but it may be comparable to like a regular Stagg. Here, let's do this. Let's compare it to a regular Stagg. I happen to have a 23C sitting right over there. Buffalo Trace, a very Buffalo Tracy nose. All right, let's try the Smoke Eye one more time. This is really good. I absolutely love the mouthfeel. Like I said, it's really interesting. I don't come across a lot of bourbons where I get that really prominent maple syrup note. And with the thickness, it drinks really nicely, like almost like you're sipping delicious maple syrup. But I am surprised that it beat a GTS. Let's compare it to the regular Stagg now. Stagg is awesome. I have to say these two are pretty close. If my mission here was to compare this Smoke Eye Hill to this bottle of Stagg, that would be a tough matchup. The Stagg is really nice and thick and sweet. The Smoke Eye Hill is really nice and thick and sweet. This video has kind of gone off on a huge tangent here. I have to say this keeps getting better the more I drink it. Just super thick mouth coating. I really like it. All right, let's get rid of the Stagg. So yeah, this Smoke Eye Hill is really, really good. I think it's definitely worth $100. I'm very impressed that a craft distillery is putting out such good whiskey, especially one that I hadn't really heard of before it won, you know, the best bourbon award or whatever. I can see why people are surprised that it beat George T. Stagg. I don't know that it quite deserved that achievement, but it really is a good whiskey. This is one that, as it sits and opens up, it really turns into something special. So a George T. Stagg killer, I'm not gonna sit and pass judgment there, but it is a great whiskey, as is the Russell's 15. I'm sitting here drinking two excellent whiskeys. I highly recommend both of them, even at the high price point. This is just, it's really good. Like I said, Russell's 13, but with a nose and a finish, both taken to 11. Very impressed with the Russell's 15. And very impressed with the Smoke Eye Hill. And I'm very impressed with the cork on the Smoke Eye Hill. This is a friggin', this is a top shelf cork right here. Look, listen to this. You hear that? This is crazy. What a cork. All right, so Russell's 15 gets an A+. Smoke Eye Hill gets an A. Does it deserve an A+? Maybe. I'll give it an A+ as well. Both of these are great. $250, way too much money. I don't recommend you spend that much money on a bottle of whiskey unless you're somebody such as myself who has no other hobbies and no life in general outside of whiskey and his children and wife and family. $100, anybody can spend $100 on a bottle of whiskey if you're super into whiskey. If you're not super into whiskey, then just buy some Wild Turkey 101 and be happy. Thank you guys for watching. Please hit the like button, and I will see you next time on Average Joe's Whiskey. Good night.